making images grow in Geogebra. So you need to have a slider because that's going to be like the constant controller in Autograph that will change the size. And we're going to grow for 20 years. And you'll only get your interest at the end of each year, so I change that to 1 year. And then my slider, I can change its size. That's quite helpful to change its size if you want to have a bit more room to precisely change its value. So it's now 300 pixels long, the slider. It can be a vertical or a horizontal slider. I think I will go for vertical here. And fixed means you won't be able to move it. That's really helpful when you want students not to be able to move certain things around. We want to move it around at the moment, so I'm going to uncheck the fixed. And angles are for obviously rotations later, etc. And so now because I unchecked fixed, I can drag that slider into view. There we go. And I'm going to call it, rename it, so I'm going to rename it and just years, because that's what it represents. Okay, and now, so for the image, this is the key thing. When you position an image, so I've clicked on image, I'm just going to label it Adidas. It helps to label them names so you can find them quickly. It shows you which corners it's going to attach to. And I want this to be like bar charts, so I want the bottom left, and Geogebra really nicely now, since a few versions, shows you where that corner is. Shows me that that's the bottom left corner. It is essential to put these brackets in, otherwise it won't understand your command. And then the next one I want to have at 40, that's going to be the bottom right corner. And then the bottom left corner, I want it to attach to a point, so I'm going to define that point now. I'm going to come back here and place that in. So I'm going to define the corner A, and this is what makes it grow. A is going to be the corner that has an x-axis that's always, x-coordinate that's always going to be 0, but the y-axis, I'm looking at compound growth here, so we've got 10,000 to start off with, which I'm just going to call 10, and I'm going to times that by an interest rate. And the scenarios that the students get given are these, because I want them to focus on proportional reasoning. I think that's what the students find really hard with percentages and ratio, and one number is a percentage of another, and compound interest is one number as a proportion of another. So this was activities designed to give them a real intuitive understanding of what's going on by testing them. So they've got a nice engaging context of their parents giving them 10,000, and I do persuade them to try and persuade their parents to give them 10,000 ready for their university fund now. And they've got, you know, like shares, I buy 40 euros, it gives me 2 euros 80 dividends each year. 200 gives me 10 euros, 1 euro it gives me 9 cents. Well, what's best? That's quite hard to see. And I don't tell them to turn it into a percentage, but I'm hoping they're going to use those skills, and then we will calculate everything at the end. But the main 20 minutes of this activity is they've just got to make the bets, and then they'll see how good their intuition is. And I've designed these contexts so that their intuition often lets them down, and they'll make the wrong decisions, and they'll realise why in maths we need to know how to calculate proportions, percentages precisely, so we can make a better judgment about how to manage our finances, as one example. And so that first one, the Adidas one, actually gives you a rate of return of 7%. So I want that to grow by 7% each year. So I'm going to make this point grow by 1.07 for the 7%, and it's going to grow by a power of the number of years. And I have to use exactly the same name with exact same capitalization and lowercase as I've named my slider. And then it will understand that that's point A. Fantastic. Then I go back to my image, properties, I go into position, and I tell it that the top corner I want to just follow A. So it needs to follow the x coordinate of A and also the y coordinate of A. So the point goes in the brackets, and you tell it x and y. And don't forget you need the brackets either side, or programming wise it won't understand what you want. And then I just need that bottom right corner again at 40. So now I've got a nice little bar, and all left to do is to animate it. Fantastic. So I'm going to close here, click on the animation, and off it goes. And that's how you set it up. So your task is, can you put on the other two, the EMI and the Facebook? And these are the growth rates for those. Actually, why don't you just use the scenarios that are on the slides that I put up on the board. Here they are. Let's see those. They're the scenarios. See if you can work out what the proportional change is, and then make those images grow accordingly. Over to you. And the last thing I just say is, if I pause that down the bottom, once you've animated, you've got a play pause button down the side, which is really helpful. and I can unshow the point because that's not really relevant. I could also do that in algebra view. I can show or unshow. Great, so over to you.